Karen plugged into my outdoor outlet daily, didn't know it fed into a live septic tank valve. The first time I caught Karen plugging her extension cord into my outdoor outlet, I thought it was a mistake. My backyard, a quiet patch of green in our suburban neighborhood, had always been a sanctuary until she moved in next door. Karen, with her towering heels, gaudy designer sunglasses, and a smirk that could curdle milk, had a knack for making everyone feel small. That day, I watched from my kitchen window as she dragged a cord from her yard, plugged it into my outlet, and powered up a garish inflatable Christmas display in July. My jaw dropped. "Who does that?" When I politely asked her to stop, she laughed, waved a manicured hand, and said, "Oh, honey, it's just a little electricity. Don't be so stingy." Her tone was pure condescension, like I was the one being unreasonable. It wasn't a one-time thing. Every day, Karen helped herself to my outlet like it was her personal power station. She'd plug in everything: string lights, a boombox blaring pop hits, even a portable AC unit for her outdoor yoga sessions. My electric bill skyrocketed, jumping $200 in a month. I left notes, knocked on her door, even tried catching her in the act, but she'd just shrug, flash that smug grin, and say, "Prove it to me." My patience was fraying, and the neighborhood was starting to notice. Old Mr. Jenkins across the street muttered about her entitled attitude, and my friend Lila, who lived 2 houses down, suggested I call the utility company. But I wanted answers first. Why was she so brazen? And why my outlet? The truth unraveled one muggy afternoon when I decided to inspect the outlet myself. It was tucked behind my rose bushes, a weathered box I hadn't thought much about since moving in. The label was faded, but as I traced the wiring, my stomach churned. The outlet wasn't just feeding power, it was tied to a secondary circuit for the house's septic tank valve. Every time Karen plugged in, she was triggering the valve to open, dumping raw sewage into a drainage field that ran perilously close to our shared property line. The faint stench I'd noticed wasn't just bad luck. It was her doing. I was livid, but also curious. How could she not know? Or worse, did she know and just not care? Enter Tom, the neighborhood's unsung hero. Tom was a retired electrician who kept to himself, always tinkering in his garage. I hadn't thought to involve him until Lila mentioned he'd rewired half the block's houses back in the 90s. When I explained the situation, his eyes widened. "That outlet's on a septic circuit? Oh, that's bad news." He grabbed his toolkit and marched over, muttering about code violations and disasters waiting to happen. Together, we confirmed the setup. Karen's daily plugins were not only stealing my power, but also flooding her own backyard with untreated waste. The irony was almost poetic. She was sabotaging herself, and she had no clue. The confrontation came on a Saturday, the air thick with tension and the faint reek of sewage. Karen was at it again, this time powering a massive karaoke machine blasting off-key renditions of 80s hits. The neighborhood was done. Mr. Jenkins leaned on his cane, glaring from his porch. Lila recorded the scene on her phone, whispering, "This is going to be good." I marched out with Tom, who carried a clipboard like a sheriff with a warrant. "Karen," I called, my voice sharp enough to cut through her warbling. She spun around, mid-chorus, her face a mask of irritation. "What now?" she snapped, tossing her hair. I laid it out: her theft, the septic tank, the mess she was making. Tom chimed in, explaining the valve system in painful detail, his voice calm but firm. Karen's smirk faltered, but she doubled down. "You're making this up," she sneered. "You're just jealous of my setup. Get over it." That's when Tom dropped the bombshell. He'd checked the drainage field that morning and found it saturated. Her backyard was a biohazard, and the health department was already on speed dial. For the first time, Karen's confidence cracked. Her eyes darted to her pristine lawn, where a faint sheen of liquid glistened under the sun. Then came the twist. Mrs. Chun, the quiet widow who lived on the other side of Karen, stepped forward. She'd been silent all this time, but now she held up a stack of photo-stamped images of Karen sneaking into my yard at dawn, plugging in her cord. "I've been watching," Mrs. Chun said softly, her voice steady. "You've been doing this for months, and it's hurting us all." The crowd gasped. Mrs. Chun, who barely spoke at block parties, had been documenting Karen's antics with the precision of a private investigator. The photos showed Karen's smug grin as she trespassed, oblivious to the damage she was causing. It was the nail in the coffin. Karen's downfall was swift and spectacular. The health department arrived within hours, cordoning off her yard with warning tape. Inspectors in hazmat suits trudged through the muck, shaking their heads. Karen stood on her porch, her designer outfit clashing absurdly with the chaos. "This is outrageous," she shrieked, but no one listened. The neighbors, once divided, were united in their disgust. Lila's video went viral on the neighborhood's group chat, and by evening, Karen was the talk of the town not for her flashy displays, but for her reckless arrogance. The septic tank had to be pumped, her lawn dug up, and her wallet took a hit with fines that made my electric bill look like pocket change. As the sun set on Karen's ruined paradise, I felt a mix of relief and pity. She'd brought this on herself, but the scale of her humiliation was almost too much to watch. She packed up her karaoke machine, her face red with fury and shame, and moved out a week later. The neighborhood threw a quiet barbecue to celebrate not her departure, but the return of peace. Tom fixed my outlet, rerouting it properly, and Mrs. Chun shared her photos with the block, earning her a round of applause. We'd all learned something. Entitlement doesn't just hurt others, it comes back to bite you, sometimes literally. Looking back, I wonder where the line is between standing up for yourself and letting someone dig their own grave. Karen's story is a reminder that actions have consequences, often bigger than we expect. What do you think? Was I right to confront her, or should I have let her crash and burn on her own? Share your thoughts. I'd love to hear where you stand.